waste was one of the problems we were solving because when the farmers couldn't sell those produce they bring from the farms, they tend to rot it. So, but we take them into our space. Some of them, we actually store them for a whole year until the next summer.
Wow.
That's how we evolved. That's why we became a bulk. We were known for bulk produce. And people can get them certain products, like certain type of peppers. They'll get it with us year round. So we solved that waste problem and they will get it at the same price they were getting it during the summer months, year round. So we solved that problem. We became a solution provider for people at that time.
All right, welcome to another episode of JWP Podcast. I'm super excited to have you here in the studio with me, Kemi. Thank you so much for making the trip.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm excited to dive into your journey, from running those 4 successful companies, and then now you're doing Scooly. And so I'm sure a lot of people that listen to this podcast, what they're looking for is relevant information that can help them to be able to build wealth. And before we started recording, you were kind of talking about these books that I have here. Some of them talk about investing and so on. And so we try to cover all of those avenues. But one of the topics that I've been covering recently that we find really interesting is the ability to build something which can then lead to wealth. And so if you look at the wealth distribution right now, we can take the most profitable 7 or the biggest 7 companies in the world right now, Netflix, Meta, Tesla, and so on. And you realize these people that have built these companies have become uber successful people who they built something, they made it great, and they became successful. And so with that in mind, I've been talking to a lot of entrepreneurs, which I'm excited that you're joining us here in the Bay Area to talk about, building wealth through entrepreneurship.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So tell us about your journey. I know you're born in Nigeria. You live in Alberta, Canada. You're here in San Francisco. Tell us about your journey. How do you kind of like connect all those dots?
It's a little bit kind of like orchestrated by God. I would say that. As a believer, I believe that God had already had a plan for my life, basically. I grew up in Nigeria. I lived in Nigeria all my life, got married. I have 3 beautiful children, and we had a life. Like we were not uber rich, but we could survive, we could live, right? So, and then we were like, you know what? Maybe it's time for us to start planning for our children, and let's find a place to move to, a country to move to, but we don't want to join the, in recent times we've had the phrase "Japa." It's a common phrase that Nigerians use, meaning that those that leave the country to go elsewhere or move abroad. And I was like, okay, we just don't want to leave, but we want to leave properly, like legally. We want to immigrate to any country that we want to. My husband had like US on his radar. Was like, oh, let's play visa lottery. We did, back then the DV lottery was like, whoever. Some people got it, some in our circle got it, but we did not. We even paid to do it, but I started looking into Canada, and I had a couple of people tell me, okay, go to Ireland. There's this couple of like skilled immigrants program in Ireland or Holland, those European countries.
Yeah.
As well, I have some skilled worker program because I don't want to. At that time, I believe we just had like our first son, and then we were already planning. This was back in 2008.
Wow.
So we were already planning leaving, and then we want to live properly. So we fell victim to a group of people that said, oh, there's a work permit in Canada. We're going to take a group of people. So we paid, and then We dropped our passport, but I'd already started reading about Canada. So when I went there to see them, I was asking a lot of questions.
Yeah.
And I saw that the guy wasn't comfortable. The way I was asking questions was just like dismissive. And well, we just like, okay, we dropped our passport and we paid, and we found out that it was this huge scam.
Oh no.
And a lot of people were invested. Like some of our friends, everybody was like, oh, we're going to Canada. And I kept on asking questions, where's the labor market impact assessment, which is for you to get a work visa in Canada, you would need that. I was asking, because I already joined online forum. At that time, we don't have WhatsApp.
Yeah.
So I already joined this online forum that was reading, and I was consuming the whole IRCC website, like back to back. So
yeah.
I was really, really curious, but I was like, okay, let's say maybe they want to perform some magic and miracles. Let's see what's going to happen. And then we found out it was a scam, and then we had to go through a government agency. It's called NAPTIP. They are in charge of people being trafficked or that needed to be rescued abroad. To some people, some of us reported to them, and then they went to go and bust the office of the guy, and then got all our passports out. And then we had to go line up at NAPTIP to get my passport. At that time, I had my daughter already, and that would be around, she's 2009. So, and we got all our passport out, and I told my husband, this is it. Like, whatever it's going to take, we're going to go to Canada, but we'll have to do it properly ourselves. And then I spoke with a couple of people that were like in the group, and then WhatsApp came maybe around that 2011, 2012. And then it was at that time you could have like a group of 20 or 25, like a WhatsApp group. It's not like the way we have it now.
Yeah.
And I became a community organizer. So I was organizing immigration to Canada groups on Canada Visa Forum online. There was this immigration lawyer in Canada that had like created like a discussion forum similar to Reddit.
Yeah.
And we were there. Everybody was like helping each other out. Then we moved it from just being online to now doing physical meetings. And then we were meeting. So this was
all in Nigeria?
All in Nigeria.
Yeah.
That would be funny that this was all in Nigeria. And at some point, I became a real core member and co-organizer of the group. And we were meeting like it was voluntary based. Nobody's getting paid. We're just helping each other. Oh, we celebrate when people got their visas approved. And, we do all of that. We pass out information. A couple of us actually from that time, we became immigration expert now.
Yeah.
Like we are actually licensed to practice it. If I look back, like some of us became that. And we would pray together. We would do all sort of things together. And we were following each other up. We became kind of a lifelong friends from that. And it's just amazing to look back now. In like couple of, like about 2 years ago, less than 2 years ago, I think late 2023, a lady saw me at my son's school and was like, he just called my nickname. They call me Kemi. So that's where my businesses came from, Kemi Immigration. Like, call me Kemi. He was like, I just greeted her and she said, like, you don't remember me? I said, no. He said, oh, you helped me with my immigration to Nova Scotia some years ago from the group. I was like, said my last name. I don't remember. Yeah. I don't remember that. So it's kind of, I said, what are you now doing here? So we moved to Edmonton. I was like, oh, wow, wonderful. And then they live in my area. That's why the kids come to my son's school. So like, and that's life, right?
That's a small world.
It's a very small world.
Imagine if you didn't do
like
right
I was a
by
criminal.
them. Yes, and now they found
she
you.
Called me.
Yes, that's interesting.
And I never even remember. I didn't even remember the last name now.
Yeah.
Because I had moved on and I've had so many things that have happened ever since then. So that was the journey that we now finally we got our permanent resident visa. And then we came to Canada as permanent resident. Then we had 3 kids at that time in 2015. And since then, 10 years ago, we made Canada our home. And then we settled in Edmonton. I know you say Edmonton is good, but that was where we settled. And then we started building our life from that time. Wonderful husband, great supporter. I've always been an entrepreneur. Even from back home, I've had businesses.
Because you started 3 businesses, right? You founded 3 businesses before the business we're going to dive into later on, right?
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Okay, when we got to Edmonton, what got me into the first business was because of my own need. So most of when I'm starting businesses out of my own need, like my own pain points, you call it now, I was looking for fresh, affordable, not like you have here in San Francisco, fresh veggies everywhere. Mm-hmm. Just looking at them at China market, like, this is almost impossible to have such a huge, big, fresh vegetable market. So in winter, because I came in during the winter and it was cold, and then prices of, because we plant some vegetables, but not as much as you see in California.
Yeah.
So a lot of it are imported, and during the winter months, we didn't know that people stock up in our community. They would have stocked up their fresh tomatoes and peppers during the summer months. And then in winter, when the prices goes really, really, like, it could be up to like sometimes 200%.
Wow.
Yes. So if you get like a case in winter for $10, $15, in summer, in winter it could be like $45, $50 a case. So it's really super expensive.
Yeah.
And I was asking around, like, where can we get affordable ones or cheaper ones? I said, you have to do that in summer. When you're new, you don't know.
Yeah.
It's like, this is painful. So we have to be eating, canned vegetables and, tomatoes and stuff. And then in come summer, I was like, where can I get this affordable? They said, well, you have to talk to people in Calgary because there are a couple of farmers. Because there is no farmers. There are farmers markets in Edmonton, but it's not as big enough as the one in Calgary because it's like a third, like the layer in Edmonton is like from hand to hand kind of farmers market.
Yeah.
But wholesale farmers, like the real farmers that are planting, come from BC every year.
Okay.
And they sell in Calgary.
I see.
And so I spoke with people that I know in Calgary because I have the community already, and they took me there, and that was how I started my first company. We started from that farmers market, and then I talked to the farmers. They were ready to send it on the truck and send it to me in Edmonton. So I came back to Edmonton. I went out, when people say now and helping startup and say, go get your wait list for customers. I did that. I didn't know what I was doing, but I did that.
Yeah.
So it's like, I have these peppers available, and if you guys would be interested, showed up interest, how many cases you want, and and people signed up, and people even prepaid for it. So it's like, okay, it's good.
Yeah,
I ordered.
Yeah, and that's so amazing that you decide to solve your own problem, and then you end up starting, 3 businesses that eventually end up generating over $4 million in revenue. That's so interesting because, someone might be listening to the podcast and saying, entrepreneurship is something I'm passionate about. It's something I want to do, but where do I start? What do I do? How do I start? But you said, you figured out, okay, I need this. Most people need it also. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to provide that service. If someone is listening to our podcast right now, they're trying to figure out, how do I, take what Kemi is telling me and be able to start my next thing or something that they're already thinking about, what advice would you give them?
Well, I would say that you have to look for things that you use daily, or that you have to depend. Maybe it's something that you need this glass to be able to put the water in, right? So for me to have it in front of me, You won't bring a jug of water and then you pour it on the table and then it becomes a mess. So that means there is need for that container to be in front of me, right? And it's made into glass, right? It could be in plastic, it could be in different containers. So it's something that you use daily. It's something that you see that there's big enough struggle that people struggle with, and people need it. There's need for phones. There's need for certain apps. There's need for food. There's need for shelter. There's need for transportation. They could be existing things that already people have already invented. You don't have to spin something out of the people say, it's disruptive. They use all those big words. It's
a disruption.
We're gonna come there and we bang everybody out and stuff like that. We're gonna chase Google for their money. It can actually spin off of what it's already existing and make it better. And just add value to it. There were grocery store in my city, lots of grocery stores, right? But there are certain communities at that time that needed something more affordable than what they were getting. So affordability problem was what we were solving. Waste was one of the problems we were solving, because when the farmers couldn't sell those produce they bring from the farms, they tend to rotten. So, but we take them into our space. Some of them, we actually store them for a whole year until the next summer.
Wow.
That's how we evolved. That's why we became a bulk. We were known for bulk produce, and people can get them certain products, like certain type of peppers. They'll get it with us year round. So we solve that waste problem and they will get it at the same price they were getting it during the summer months, year round. So we solved that problem. We became a solution provider for people at that time that needed that, because even people say, you're not running it, but I see her like 2 days ago, somebody asking me, I'm in San Francisco, I need this type of pepper.
Wow.
Yeah, you do you get what I'm saying now? So we were solving that, we were bringing that solution to certain group of people that needed that at that time. So there's always a problem around us. We don't pay attention when you are in a space, when you are in a community, when you're in a room. Look around, there will be a problem. And it could be your own problem, which is even the best sometimes, to solve and check and ask around. If this is my problem, I'm not crazy, right? Like, is it your problem?
Yes.
Is it your problem? Is it your problem? Look enough that, okay, there's enough market for it. How I started is to get the wait list and say, okay, send it out on WhatsApp group and say, if you're interested in this, will you message me and pre-order. We started, I would say for 3 good years, it was just a pre-order list that we were using. We didn't have a physical store. And
that's brilliant.
So that was it. People pre-order, they even in most cases pay. And then we order because we didn't have storage. So we have to distribute right away to them.
It's so interesting though. So, someone who moves from Nigeria to here, you discover a need and then you're doing it at a very high level, which is like selling it in bulk, right? Are there specific skills that made you successful to be able to do that? Are there, looking back today, are there skills that you would say, this specific skill, it doesn't matter where you learned it. Maybe you learned it in Nigeria, maybe you learned it when you got to Edmonton, Canada, but were there specific skills that made you successsay
entrepreneurship is unfortunately not taught in schools. So even where I would say being educated is good, but at the same time, you need to actually build yourself personally. So it's very important that you develop yourself as a human being, either by reading, either, they made it so easy now. Now it's a podcast. Vlog. You have it both in video content and 10, 20 years ago, there were no as much information being passed across and shared the way it is right now. I would say that just develop yourself. So it's not something that it's just, I'm just somebody that is always looking for opportunities. And then when I see the opportunities, I would say, okay, how can I make it better? So, and that was just what I was doing. So I was running it differently. So when people were ordering, there were, at that time, even in our region in Western Canada and even in most of North America, there were no delivery services for groceries, fresh groceries. We started it.
Wow.
Yes. So there were none. Now you have Walmart, you have
DoorDash,
all of them.
Yeah.
So come up, instant carts, they help you to shop. There were none.
Wow.
There were none. If I had the knowledge I have now, we would have evolved it
absolutely
completely into
$1 billion company.
yes.
Yeah.
Well, that was the skill that the way we were seeing it was just like managing local, maybe expand to 2 or 3 places, locations. That was it. Like we didn't thought of that coming up with that, people having their grocery delivered to their door was super new to them. They've never experienced it, but we invented it and we came up with it and we started doing it.
Yeah.
In our city, it was very new. We didn't even stop in our city. It was like, okay, you are 2 cities, 3 cities across, or an hour, 2-hour drive. We'll put it in a casing and then we'll send it on. There are this cargo buses.
Yeah.
They were going out of town and we send it to people that they couldn't come outside to shop all the time. We're doing the needs, and for people who like, why do you, like, you're just a small specialty African shop, right? Why are you doing all of this? But it was just because of the way I personally think of how to add value to the way we do things. How can we automate time sheets instead of doing all this manual time sheets? We had an app that we're scheduling all the stuff. From the get-go we had POS system and screen touch. We never used all the manual ones the African stores were. So we're very different from those that we met in the marketplace at that time that were doing something similar. And then we were super like wholesale, though we still because people may not have the space or the freezer space or fridge space to keep like a large quantity. We still make smaller quantity, but we're like super duper niche focused on, like, you see, because Costco was the model we were modeling after. Yeah.
That's so interesting looking back, because one of my friends also, his name is Giovanni Gillis, and one of my very, very first episodes, he's one of my very good friends. He was on a podcast, and I quite remember when we were much younger, he had started this thing where we would go to restaurants and we would pick up food and deliver it to people for the restaurants. So we would just like partner with specific restaurants. If they get an order, they'll call us, we'll go pick it up, and then we'll deliver it to people. This is way before Uber came. And we were doing this thing. And, fast forward, I tell him, I'm like, you started this Uber thing before Uber came. But again, to your point, we didn't kind of like get the vision to say, you know what, maybe we can actually create, a marketplace, an app that connects the restaurant to the customer, and then we'd be the middleman and deliver the food. We didn't figure out to do that. And so if someone is listening to the podcast right now, this is the time where, what we're talking about is discovering what your need is and figuring out how you're going to solve it, not just for you, but for multiple people. But it's so important also to think outside the box, right? To think globally and say, if I'm solving it here, how else can I solve it? How else can I expand it? What other technologies can I bring together to be able to expand the problem and make it a multi-million, billion-dollar company? Really, really important. I was telling my friend, my other friend, just yesterday, I was telling him, because, he's starting his business, and my advice to him was, if you ever set out to go build a company, please, yes, it's important to start small, but think global. You want to build a world-class company. Always think, I'm going to build a world-class company. Shout outs to small businesses. It's great, but you want to build a world-class company always. So thank you so much for sharing that. That's so helpful. So continuing your journey is so inspiring, by the way. I love it. So, now you've talked about you getting scammed, and basically you become an immigration advisor. You don't stop there, though. Now you started a company, an AI-powered company that is removing the gap between education and immigration. How do you put all that together? Tell us about Scooly.
Okay, yeah, Scooly was, like I said earlier, the way I end up getting involved myself in business is majorly trying to solve my own problem. So when I got my license to practice and I started my company in 2022, I was looking for automation. I don't want to deal like with, CRM, one CRM there, another CRM here, website there. Everything was just fragmented.
Yeah.
And I was frustrated with it. Like, how can I do intake for a student and I'm able to automate the process for them to book an appointment for their visa, or for them to pay for their visa? We have we have all this Stripe and, people can do payments in different ways. But I just wanted to can we make it better? Can I build a system in my own practice? Can I just automate the whole process? Then in my research, I found that there was nothing that could help me integrate the whole solution together in the markets. So it's not something that I would find. So I have to pay for your CRM. Maybe it's $1,200 every year, or maybe $1,400. The one I was using was $1,400, and then I have to pay for web hosting somewhere. I have to do this website, domain elsewhere. It was just everywhere. And I was like, okay, I need to find something or build something that would integrate a visa marketplace so people can go like a shopping cart and just shop for what they need. They can put their reviews there. They can, things that can go on, like send it to a Google page. All those things, I just wanted to integrate the tools. And I needed it in one platform, all in one platform. And people can come in and search for schools, and then we'll send it directly. So I was looking so it was something I thought I am building for my business personally. And then while we were working, when we were looking for who to build it, was when I realized that if I have to build it for myself, then why can't I make it big enough for people to be part of it? So I'm not just the one. I have immigration experts around me that need to boost their businesses. We see people in the marketplace that are struggling. They don't know who is licensed to practice, who is not. They call everybody agents. Oh, an agent took my money. Then we saw in 2023, that was even the peak point. We were getting a lot of calls of fake admission offers. People were having issues like with their admission. They would get admission, but they got a fake one. And then Canada was like, we're sending this group of, became a big news. It's like, okay, now it's time for me to find this solution. I don't know what I'm looking for, and I don't know where to start. As in someone that has never been technical, like I've never write a line of code in my life. Like I can build a Wix website. I can, drag and drop type of website, but it's not like I can now start coding and building or doing any form of engineering when it comes to a website. I don't even know if it's something that is possible, but let me dig into it. So I started doing my research. I went on some of the freelance websites, starting from there. And then I found a couple of people on Fiverr, they were like giving me all this money, the bills and stuff like that. So I found a gentleman. I was like, okay, but he had like a template that I could kind of customize to what I need. And then I was like, okay, I'll pay you. So I paid him, it's a couple of thousands, and then he did it like in sprints. So I saw what he was doing. He was giving me, it's crazy, like it's 3 a.m. like my own time, and it's like day in it was, but it was real struggle.
Yeah.
And that was what I was doing. So at that point in time, when I saw what you could do with just a template type of software, I was like, okay, I think we can do this. So I started looking around and say, okay, who in my community or what organization in my community help people that are building tech solutions? So I found out that, okay, we have a place it's called Admitting Unlimited, in Calgary. We have Platform Calgary. So we have these accelerator programs they have that help tech companies to be able to build their technology. So I went there, I took one of their workshops. I was like, okay, I'm doubting myself. So if I'm in a workshop, ideation workshop, and then the guy we are working on, helping him with his idea, I could explain his idea to him better than himself could explain it to us when it came to our table, because I was asking, is this what you're trying to build? And then I went online, like on my phone, and I registered Scooly domain immediately, like in that class. So I was like, if he could struggle this much to explain his idea, then I ended up being the one to explain his idea back to him. That means I'm way better. And that was where I was like, you know what? Went on GoDaddy.
Wow.
And then just registered the domain. And then later I, published it on, just did the logo myself on Canva. And then I put it up on I designed a Wix website, and that was Scooly. That's how Scooly was born.
Wow. That's such an interesting and amazing story. Thank you so much for sharing that. And someone might be wondering, okay, so you build it and you got to this point, and where is it now? Right now you're raising 1 million, right? You're raising 1 million pre-seed round.
Yes,
for people that are listening.
Are raising.
Yeah.
So if people like wondering like how long ago was this, like that was like October 2023. And after I did the registration around that October, in October I did the incorporation. That's something with me, I would do it. I told myself, like, whether it's going to be useful or not,
you're gonna
it's
do
$500.
Yeah.
So I set up the incorporation, and then I approached them and say, I want to take one of the accelerator here. Now I have a clarity of what I'm trying to do. And they said, okay, the next one will start January 2024. I said, okay. So I applied. Myself, my husband joined me as co-founder, and then we did the accelerator program for 12 weeks. And during the accelerator program was when someone introduced us to our current CTO. That was how he sat with us. We sat down. That was February 2024. And then we sat down, and then it was like, okay, yeah, he was going to put a team together who will be interested in helping us to build the platform. And we started, that was how the journey started.
Wow.
And then he came on board fully April 2024. And then he hired all the team, the dev team, and then we started building. And then Scooly was just evolving into different things from then on. And now we have an MVP that is live.
Yes.
Online. You can go to my Scooly, MY. Scooly is spelled as SCOOLY.com, and you will see our website is up, and so people can search for school. They can fill out. We do a free right now. Part of our introductory option is for people to be able to do a free 15-minute advisory services with real human being, not AI.
Yeah.
Not AI. You can book a free 15-minute session and to speak with a student advisor that will help you with your admission, and also to go on our marketplace and be able to book for services and paid for visa services. If you're a student, you want to apply for any form of visa. If you want to even get clarity on where to go, where to start, you can book, and you can also go on that visa marketplace, you will need to register and sign up, and then you'll be able to access the account.
Yeah.
You will see where it says users sign up, and you can go on there and sign up, and then you'll be able to access, similar to Airbnb model. You can pick whatever you want. If you like the faces of the immigration expert there, pick whoever you want. You can read their reviews. You can it's a platform we built out of, we needed transparency in the whole process. You want to know how much it's going to cost you, not, oh, my visa is approved, I'm withholding your approval until you pay me more money.
Yeah. So one thing that I really liked when I was looking at the platform is, so I was able to select the school. It told me how much it's going to cost me to go to that school. I was like, wow, this is really, really awesome. So,
and that's like our first beta version. So more is coming. We want it to be the AI has not even been implemented yet. So it's going to be intuitive. You're going to ask questions. You can chat with the AI to be able to give you an idea of the program. You can even give you what the job market's outlook is going to be like. If you finish I want to do business management, it's going to tell you, it's going to be able to tell you about, let's say you're going to Arizona State University. It's going to tell you coming to San Francisco University. So it's going to tell you all the information about where you're going, the cost of living in that area, not just for the tuition alone. Those are the things that we're going to be implementing on the platform.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing to implement, because before we started recording, remember we were talking about how sometimes you go to school and you study something and then you get to a point where you don't even use what you studied, right?
Absolutely.
And there are a lot of people that are looking to, whether they're immigrating from Nigeria or from Ghana to wherever they want to go, or even some people immigrating from England to the US or wherever, right? It's globalization. People are just moving everywhere these days. And maybe they want to study something, but they just don't know what the outlook of that is. It's so amazing that you provide that on the platform. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. You're welcome. What we want to do is to bridge the gap for people and to be able to put in front of them what they've been struggling with.
Yeah.
And it's not about people just coming to the G8 countries, G7 countries. People are also moving out.
Yes.
That's why we're building a global platform. We're not building a platform for people to come to North America, to come to Europe or go to UK, but we're also building a platform for people that want to move to Africa. So if I want to move back to Ghana, is there someone that can help me with my immigration? A lot of people don't know.
Yeah.
I was still watching a podcast this week, and the lady was saying that she's an American. She didn't know she needed a visa to go to Nigeria for 30 December.
Yeah.
And then she was sent back to Dubai. Yeah,
wow.
You need a visa because you're similar. If I'm coming to US, I'm not. I'm coming from a country that doesn't have that
partnership
with them. Of course, it has to be both sideways. As a Canadian, I can't just go to Nigeria and say I'm going, except because I'm a Nigerian.
Yeah.
Then I can go in with my Nigerian passport.
Yeah.
And if I don't have my Nigerian passport, I know they've waived it if it's expired, but I would need visa.
Yeah.
So it is important for us to know that people are also moving to other countries. People are going to Portugal.
Yeah.
They are going to Dubai, golden visa. So they need those experts on ground. Part of what we're building with Scooly is for you to be able to easily pick up your bag and find someone to help you in Italy, in Spain, in Portugal, all over the world.
Yeah.
And that's where we're scaling and building Scooly to. The vision is not just for people, the inflow of people to North America or to Europe, which are popular destinations with immigrants. But also the outflow of people moving from US to Australia.
Yeah.
They are moving from Canada to Australia, right?
Yeah.
They are moving to other part of the world. They are looking for nomad visas. They are looking for all sort of visas to be able to stay. A lot of people are now, stacking up their coin in Caribbean now, and they are looking for those second type of passports, even those that are like in North America here, moving down there. Some for tax incentives, some for they want to protect their wealth and stuff like that. So people are crisscrossing all over the world, and who is actually capturing those? Who is helping them? And we've had enough stories of how they struggle so much to be able to access those that will help them. The research has shown 70 to 80% of those that are applying for any form of visa, like I started my story, will need help. So who is actually addressing that market, or that help market, which is important. We have a couple of companies that have built platforms that does help with like moving workers, employees all over the world, helping them with HR. You know, they are $1 billion companies, so they are just doing a little part of what we're the big vision here. And our vision, our goal is to be able to remove every pain point for all our users. Either you're looking for admission, you're able to find it in Japan, in Malaysia. You want to go to Singapore to study, you're able to find it. You're looking for admission that maybe have scholarships, you're able to study for free, or the ones that you're able to access student loan. So that's not a barrier for you. And it's important that everybody have access to education. It doesn't matter. It shouldn't, your background or where you come from shouldn't be a barrier for you to be able to access global education. For you, we want to break down the borderless. We want to make the world provide a borderless solution for everyone. Yeah,
and you're doing that. I love that. So, you know, as I listen to your story, the things you're doing, the things you want to do, it all makes sense why you're, voted one of the 100 women to watch in 2023. How did that come about?
I don't know. Well, sometimes people just watch, and I'm here in the Bay Area. This week I'll be speaking at an Women AI conference, and I was the only founder like on the panel. I was like, where did they find me? Like, some people just reach out to you and based on what you've done or your work, and then they just I don't know how that, like, I've been nominated for awards. It was like, there was one I was nominated, they called me, I was like, that was Rosalind Smith's entrepreneurship award. I was like, they called me, the person that called me was around maybe 7-8 in the evening. I was telling my husband, scam. Like, they can't get me. Like, who calls you at this time of the day offering you, you've been nominated for an award that we want you to show up like in next week to come and accept the award. I was like, I don't know. Then they now follow. They asked me for my email. So I gave them, and then they now follow up with an email. Then I went to Google them. I was like, oh, it looks real. So it's amazing that people see what you do. And it doesn't get to me. Like, the most important, my goal is to give everything I have while I'm on Earth, to be able to pour back, to be able to show people in my community, as an immigrant as well, that wherever you are, you can actually be excellent in what you're doing, and you can think outside the box. Like, you don't have to follow the norm. And someone make a comment in the past week and said, I was viewing a house and it was like, oh, are you from Nigeria? I said, yeah. Oh, I said, how did you know? I said, I can tell from your accent. It's like, oh, yeah, okay. I said, do you know a lot of Nigerians? Oh, yeah, I know a lot of them. They are taxi drivers. That kind of settled with me a little bit. Like, a lot of Nigerians are doctors in this.
Yes.
In this
I was just about to say that, because I was like, depending who you ask, because if you ask Candace Owens, she's going to say, I have a lot of Nigerian friends who are doctors.
A lot of Nigerians, and if he sees a Nigerian that was a taxi driver, that was his side hustle, and it's not going to last. Trust me. Except he's not a Nigerian. it's not going to last there.
Yeah.
It's maybe a temporary stopgap thing that he's doing to bring in money because we don't know how to beg.
Yeah.
Right? So we would do anything to work hard to get to where we are going to. Maybe that's you're seeing them, they are tech bro or something. So we're saying he's an older gentleman, very, very old. And he said, I met a lot in taxi. They're taxi drivers. It's like, oh. I didn't say anything because I wasn't there to come and be putting, trying to set some scores with him. But that kind of stuck with me at that point. And it's just like, okay. I kind of changed the conversation. But we are known for Black excellence. We are known for great things. And we do amazing things all over the world.
Yes.
And we, like Nigerians, we say we don't carry last. So, and that spirit of excellence is always in us. And I'm proud of my people. I'm proud of Africans, what they are doing in the diaspora. It's huge. And without us, I don't think Africa would have survived, especially since COVID. We remit billions of dollars back to Africa. And that's what has sustained those countries. Without us, I don't know, especially since after COVID, that everything dried up, all the loans and money they've been, getting. COVID actually exposed a lot. Like every country became super selfish. You remember the vaccine?
Yes.
So they were giving themselves the vaccine. They didn't send the vaccine to Africa. You remember?
Yeah, absolutely.
And God so kind kept them.
Yes.
Like, people would have died. Like
back home.
If that disease, that pandemic eats Africa the way it eat the North America and the likes,
it would have been serious.
It would have been chaotic.
Yeah.
Like, we're so lucky. People say, it doesn't exist. Oh, COVID did happen.
Yeah.
People died. So I was affected. So I know it was real. But they didn't release the initial version to us, right?
Yeah.
That showed that you need to, whatever you have to do, you have to push excellence in whatever you have to do. And that's part of those, as we are building innovative solutions, we, adding value to those that are back home and to be able to build them. For Scooly, all of our developers are in Nigeria.
I was so amazed when you told me that all of your developers were in Nigeria.
Yeah, except our CTO and one other team member, like project manager.
Yeah.
Everybody is in Africa.
You truly live what you say, because what you said is you want to pour out whatever you have, right? You want to give back as much as possible. And most people think they have to get big. They have to hit a certain goal. They have to hit 5 million, 10 million before they're able to give back. But you've been giving back for a long time. Like, you started giving back by starting that community that was helping people to be able to immigrate to Nova Scotia, wherever they wanted to go. And then you started giving back again by providing that bulk service of fresh vegetables for people. And now you're giving back with this company that you have recently just started by, having developers that are only in Nigeria. That's so amazing.
Absolutely. And that's the thing. We have to find a way to be, for me, if we are paying them, when you pay from here, you're not paying like the markets, like
right, yeah.
If they add that regular job from that market, because you're paying more. So it's kind of a premium way of you're paying more, like in terms of what you're paying them. And that's affecting so many families.
Yes.
It's changing their buying power. It's increasing their buying power.
Yeah.
The world has evolved in a way that you can have remote work as we do. They actually do meet every day. They have their sprint every day, 15 minutes. And when they need to bring me in, they bring me in. Because I'm still the product owner, the product manager.
Yeah.
So they will bring me in and for approvals, for things that I needed to do demo for me before we release some part of the platform. Now we are building a whole different dashboard and backend right now. So it's amazing how we're able to add those value back home and helping those families to be able to pay, good, maybe school fees for their kids, or have a good life basically. Even though they live back in Africa, they live close to life that they would have probably got if they live abroad. So absolutely. And with low, it's still some people say it's expensive, but it's still lower cost of living compared to what they are getting as salaries. So we should all be thinking that way. How do we add value? How do we give back? How do we invest back? Part of our proceed as we grow, even for Scooly, would be to be able to offer scholarships to students, indigenous students that doesn't have the opportunity. Like I know where I came from, and I wish I had the opportunity earlier. But my parents, despite our background, still was one thing that was super important to them was education, because they believed that would get you out of the rat race, the poverty, and everything that we lived through. And that was one of the things that built me up. Like as a kid, I've always have something to sell. I don't know how to steal. I don't know how to I don't like getting in trouble, or being beaten or something. So I would sell. Like when I was in university, I was selling candy to my classmates, like candy, snacks on my way to school, to campus. Then I would buy a nice jar of candy. So when the lecturer, maybe we're waiting for another class to start, I'll just put it in front of me on desk. People are taking and putting money. And when everybody is saying they are broke, when I'm going home,
you got money
I'm cooking soup. I'm cooking soup. Yeah. So I've always done that at every point in time. I'll bake cake for people. I'll bake them cookies. I've always done something with I've never had a time to be idle. So those things kind of add to me. So even when we came here, and I would see a lot of people, they will come as photographers, as creatives, and they want to drop everything and move into paid jobs because they have to survive. It's like I will push them, encourage them. I've helped a lot of people to ideate, mentor them in their businesses and grow. And the way I see them now is really I can't even afford them anymore. So which is kind of is a good thing, right? So it means that you have grown and beyond that level that you were when you came a couple of years ago, and kind of pushed you. I'll tell you, I'll be your first customer. I will pay. I will insist that some people I even register their websites. I will do anything to just push you. And that was what pushed me into being a volunteer with Canadian Chamber of Commerce. So I'm the hub leader actually for my city. So that pushed me into that. So I volunteer on a couple of non-profit boards. So because of my education in Canada, it's in that non-profit area. My degree is in non-profit. So I help a lot of businesses and non-profits just kind of achieve their strategic goals. And we've been able to help many people with their business, either to connect them to get access to loans, and some loans in Canada help you. Like if you're a youth, they will help you to kind of get access to some money to start your business. So we've done a lot and we do events, we do networking events, we bring speakers in our community to kind of help them to ideate. So things like that has always been. Community building is key, is so important to me because I believe that commonwealth, and I believe so much in keeping even the money in our community as well. So if you're making shoes, I don't think in the last 10 years that I've been in Canada, I know how much millions of dollars millions of naira that I've put back into why will I buy a product that I know that Nigerians can make and buy it from China? Right? Yeah. So why can't
That's an interesting perspective.
Yes, it is.
There,
So it's cheaper, and then people tell you buy it on Temu and buy it on Shein. And it was like, what? Like, why? Like, why not? You know, even people that make us stuff, they know what, like, we would, like, they always like the fact that you know, patronize them, and
Absolutely.
and they appreciate that. So that is adding value. I know it's cheaper on all this fast fashion website, but we can make something really, really good, nice, us. You know, I wore suits the last time, even I still wear them now here to San Francisco, and people are asking me where I got those suits from. They are from Nigeria.
Yeah.
They are like something you get from one big label here. They thought I did.
Yeah.
They are all custom made from Nigeria.
Yeah. Wow.
So
that's so important too, right? Because one of the things we've talked about is, you know, the average dollar spends the least amount of time in the Black community. Whereas, you know, you take like the Asian community, for example,
huge.
or the average dollar is spending at least like 20 days. Whereas in the Black community, it spends probably like 4 to 8 hours, right? So it goes in the community and then it's out. But I love that you mentioned, you know, keeping that dollar, patronizing our people, supporting our people, which is what you're doing with Scooly. So it's so impressive. Thank you so much for all that you're doing. So what we do on GWP podcast is we talk about building wealth, right? And, you know, you are literally, not only are you building the wealth for yourself, but you're also helping other people build wealth. What is your definition of wealth?
Wealth is something that, how will I put it? Like, because my mind is speaking in my language and then I need to interpret it
Into English, yeah.
in English. So
say it in your language. How would you say it?
You know, in my language, you say that is in the house you meet wealth. Ilela boro. You meet it in the house. So it's not something you can just pick up on the streets, you know? It's not something, so it has to be intergenerational. It's something that has to come down.
Yeah.
So some families are known for their knowledge, like they will say, oh, they are all Harvard graduates or something. It doesn't mean that in between those generations, there were not people that were not interested in there were not people that they don't have interest in that family legacy thing, right? You know, they will say it's a legacy school and stuff like that, or it's a trust fund baby or stuff like that. So why did those forefathers build those things for their journey? And they kind of put it down. For you to get this amount, you have to be, maybe you get married at this age or do these certain things or make sure you go to Harvard.
Yeah.
So they put those conditions there. So wealth to me is something that you live. To me, it has to be something that is passed down to your generations. It has to be something that is a legacy. It's not sometimes we always see wealth as just physical dollars and money.
Yeah.
But it's way more than that.
Yes.
It's huge legacy. So it's not just about it's your name. It's legacy is part of your name anyways, because Rockefeller is a name, right? So, and then people, like some people are still having that last name till date, right?
Yeah.
So Ford is a name, right? So some people are still having it. So there are things that one man thought of, built it, and left it in such a way that it's passed down to generation to generation. And it doesn't have to be physical cash, but it could be just even the name will open door for you.
Yeah.
Right?
Amazing.
That's wealth to me.
Amazing. Thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure having you on the podcast. Thank you for coming. You've shared so much and you've dropped a lot of knowledge here. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about that I haven't asked you about today?
I'm not sure. I think it's been a while. We've been chatting and it looks like it's, where did time go? I would just say if you're here and you want to learn more about Scooly, go on our website. You can also check me out on LinkedIn. Kemi Bolatito Bello, or Kemi Bolatito. You just search me and I will pop up on LinkedIn. And if you know anyone, angel investor, anyone that wants to invest in $1 billion company, because we're going to be a unicorn very soon.
Absolutely.
You should check out Scooly, and I would love to have a chat with you, and you take it from there. So thank you.
Yeah, it's a wrap. Thank you so much, Kemi.
Thank
it's been
you
a wrap.
for having me.
Thank you.